Okay, welcome to our Wednesday Mother Hustler. We will continue reading our Super Attractor book today. I'm actually going to upload the first part of the Super Attractor book to YouTube. That way, if anybody wants to jump in the middle of this book, they can just go to my YouTube channel and catch up a little bit. We're only starting chapter 4 today, so they wouldn't have too terribly much to catch up on by themselves, but they could easily do it and then jump in right with us, tomorrow or next week. So let's go ahead and start the way we always do with our birthday messages. This is just so important because it lets people know that we care about them, that we're thinking about them, wishing them a happy birthday. But then it also gives them a reason to click on our page and look to see what we've been up to, click on our story, see if we're still thriving. Maybe their time is right. They'll message back and ask us a question or say something. It just opens up the doors for communication when it comes to our business. So, and I know a couple of you guys actually own other businesses as well. So if they're not going to reach out to you about Thrive, maybe they're going to reach out to you about another business that you have or something else that you do. So that's why it is so important to send those birthday messages, because it opens the communication, like I said. So 1 second. I'm just going to mute everybody. Okay. So let's go to Facebook. You should have a notification this morning of birthdays. I got mine 6 minutes ago. If you didn't get a notification, you can find it under events and birthdays. And I always send everybody a personal message. I think it's just more personal. Like I said, opens the door for the communication. If you just write on their wall, typically they don't respond, but almost everybody will say something back if you send a personal message. Typically I put hearts, but this is a guy, so I'm definitely not going to do that. And then I just copy and paste my message. So I say something like, "Happy birthday, Rodney. I hope you have the best day." And then I just go down my line of birthdays and do the same thing. So feel free, go ahead and go down your list of birthdays. And then if you missed yesterday, you can catch up and do yesterday's as well. People are already responding. That usually happens. Okay, I'll give you guys just another minute to finish the birthdays that you're on while I pull up the audio. So, like I said, if you are on here just for the first time during this book, it's okay. I'm going to upload the previous chapters to YouTube. That way, you can go on there and catch up if you want to. She just kind of introduces herself as an author and kind of what she believes in and what she writes about. And then each chapter is a little bit different. So, it's not a story that builds on each other. It's really just kind of different sections or the different chapters. So, we're ready for chapter 4, and this chapter is Have Fun Along the Way. And I really like her because she's a huge believer in having fun, and you can't really let things into your life, good things into your life, unless you're having fun and enjoying the journey. She's a big believer in that. So, this is just a kind of a different way of thinking than probably the people that you're around most of the time, but just keep an open mind with it, because I think if you stick with it and finish this until the end of the book, you're going to notice some changes that are happening already, or just kind of weird things at the beginning that you're like, that things are happening since we started reading this book. And it's really just a shift in your mindset. I know a couple of you girls have already messaged me and said that some good things have happened. So I'm excited to see where the rest of the book takes us. But I will just play the audio for you guys so you can just listen. If you have an earbud in, great. If you're watching on the computer, great. And then if you have the hard copy of the book, you can also go through and follow along while she's reading it to you. I read it through once and I got a lot out of the book, but hearing her voice and hearing her read the book to us kind of adds a different element. So I'm glad that you guys kind of get to experience both. So here we go. I will start chapter 4, which is chapter 4 in the hard copy, and then it's actually track 5 on the audio. So here we go.
Chapter 4. Have fun along the way. One Saturday morning in June, I went to a friend's house for breakfast. It was a sunny, beautiful weekend day, and we made a delicious meal together. But while I was relaxed and enjoying myself, it was clear that she was nervous and distracted. As we sat at the table drinking coffee, I asked her what was wrong. She told me that later that morning, she was taking her 9-year-old son, Jack, to a baseball tryout. He'd find out that day whether he'd be moving up to the majors or staying in the minors. She was worried that he wasn't going to make it and that he'd be devastated. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of Jack. He was standing in the living room overhearing our conversation. I saw the fear in his eyes and I could sense his discomfort. My friend looked over at him and said, "Jack, the only thing you need to do today is have fun. Don't worry about what happens. Just have a good time." I could tell he wanted to believe that, but his nervous expression told me that his fear of not getting picked was stronger than his desire to have fun. Jack headed off to tryouts, and when he returned a few hours later, it was obvious from his body language that he had not been picked. The sad energy was palpable. Instead of trying to let it blow over, I went over to Jack. I said, "I understand you're disappointed. Tell me how you feel." I let him rant. He went on about how unfair it all was, how the boy who got moved up was smaller, younger, and not as good. Jack built up a tremendous amount of energetic momentum around the negative story. At first, the spiritual teacher in me wanted to do anything I could to relieve him of his pain and bring him back to a good mood. But Jack was really digging in. I wasn't going to get this 9-year-old boy from despair to carefree happiness all that quickly. In situations like these, We almost never leap from misery right to joy. But we can lift ourselves out of a low vibration energy bit by bit. I like to refer to Abraham Hicks's emotional guidance scale. The idea behind the emotional guidance scale is that while you can't usually go from a low vibration to a high vibration right away, you can make small moves up the scale. Attainable, better feeling thoughts and energy help you climb the scale to a joyful place. Your emotions are a direct indicator of how much you're resisting or allowing. When you're in an energy of joy, you're allowing yourself to be a super attractor. The closer you are to the emotion of joy, the more easily you attract what you want. But what do you do when you're really far from a feeling of joy? In these situations, it's not wise to try to leap up the scale as fast as possible. If you've ever tried to force yourself to do it, then you know how hard it is. In fact, trying to go from a very low vibration to a very high vibration quickly might leave you feeling worse. When you're in a negative place, high vibe thoughts won't resonate. They'll just feel false. So instead of trying to leap, we have to lovingly guide ourselves back to joy. Returning to joy is a gentle process that requires small steps up the emotional scale. The emotional scale is a list of commonly felt emotions ranging from joy, appreciation, freedom, love, and empowerment, the highest, to fear, despair, desperation, grief, and powerlessness, the lowest. The goal is to identify where you are on the emotional scale and proactively reach for better feeling thoughts that lead to better feeling emotions. Once you stabilize in a new emotion, you've moved up the scale. Then you continue the practice of reaching for a better feeling thought and moving up the scale to a higher vibration emotion. The emotions you feel become the energy you emit. Your energy is important because it's your point of attraction. So when you're low on the emotional scale, you're emitting negative energy and attracting people, situations, and experiences into your life that match that vibration. This is why we say things like, my day went from bad to worse, and I'm in a negative spiral. We're always attracting and manifesting, even if it's unconscious. As you lift yourself out of the low vibration state and move up the emotional scale, your point of attraction shifts with every step. When you lean toward joy in any situation, you literally change the vibrational frequency of what's happening around you. Here is the emotional scale as described by Abraham Hicks. The emotional guidance scale. 1, joy, appreciation, empowered, freedom, love. 2, passion. 3, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness. 4, positive expectation, belief. 5, optimism. 6, hopefulness. 7, contentment. 8, boredom. 9, pessimism. 10, frustration, irritation, impatience. 11, overwhelmment, feeling overwhelmed. 12, disappointment. 13, doubt. 14, worry. 15, blame. 16, discouragement. 17, anger. 18, revenge. 19, hatred, rage. 20, jealousy. 21, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. 22, fear, grief, desperation, despair, powerlessness. Here's how I used the emotional scale with our little baseball player, Jack. When he walked in the door, he was clearly in fear, grief, depression, despair, and powerlessness. I knew he might stay stuck there all day and possibly longer if he didn't have some guidance to get out. So I sat down with him, compassionately honored his emotions, and let him rant. I then gently guided him to reach for thoughts that lifted him up the scale just a bit. I said, how does all of this make you feel? He said, I feel bad because now I'm the oldest person on my minor league team. In that moment, Jack's discomfort with being the oldest on the team moved him up the scale to insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. I said, I understand how you feel. I imagine you're mad. He replied, yes, I'm really mad because it's not fair. The kid who got picked is younger and smaller than me. The coaches didn't follow the rules. Jack had moved into jealousy, then zoomed right up to hatred and rage, and even into blame. I could see a small amount of relief come over him as he went from despair to rage. It's funny to think that rage could be an improvement, but it has a more positive energy than fear, grief, desperation, despair, powerlessness. When we understand this, we can see how moving from despair to rage is progress. What he said about the coaches not following the rules told me he was moving up the scale to blame. So I coaxed that out of him a bit. I asked, "What else are you upset about?" He stabilized on blame as he complained about the coaches who didn't pick him. Then on his own, without any guidance from me, he moved into worry. He said, "I'm worried I won't get a lot of time on the field because they'll want to give the younger kids a chance to play." He shrugged and sighed. At this point, Jack was resolved to sit with his disappointment and didn't want to continue talking about the situation. But he was clearly feeling slightly better now that he'd moved out of despair. Later that day, we all went to the soccer field to watch Jack's younger brother play. I was chatting with Jack's mom at the field when I noticed Jack roaming around aimlessly. He came up to us and said, "I'm bored." I was so excited to hear this. I knew that boredom was a huge leap up the emotional scale. Leaving the field, Jack rode back with my husband, Zach, and me. During the drive, Zach got him talking about cars, a subject Jack is passionate about. They went on and on discussing everything from dream cars to various racetracks. I could hear excitement and enthusiasm in Jack's voice. Thoughts of the baseball tryout were far from reach. He'd now moved up to the energy of passion without even realizing it. Abraham Hicks say, "Distraction is the fastest way back into alignment." We naturally move up the emotional scale when we're distracted by something that makes us feel better than the negativity we previously focused on. If we're really stuck in and upset about something, it can seem hard to let anything else get our attention. But a simple distraction can be a miracle. The moment you even slightly shift your focus onto something else, you'll feel better. In the 12-step community, it's often suggested that the best way to get out of your own drama is to be of service to someone else. I've applied this practice for years. Whenever I notice myself obsessing about an issue that's upsetting, I shift my focus quickly by checking in on my friends to see how they're doing. I'll pick up the phone, call a friend, and say, "How are you? How can I support you right now?" The moment I get into the energy of service and focus on someone else is a miracle. The miracle is that I've shifted my perception and distracted myself from my own dramas. Best of all, I've helped someone else. Distraction really worked for Jack. By the time we got home, he was dancing around the house, playing on the computer, and telling jokes. He was back in joy. Even though an earlier disappointment had him really down, he was able to emotionally guide himself back up the scale and return to joy. This little man was a miracle worker. Let Jack's story inspire you. The next time you notice yourself at the bottom of the emotional scale, gently practice reaching for better feeling thoughts and emotions. Know that you can move up the scale bit by bit, step by step. And as this example demonstrates, you can, and often, will move up the scale by focusing on something other than what's upsetting you. This doesn't mean you're ignoring difficult emotions or checking out of tough situations. In fact, it's quite the opposite. By moving up the emotional scale, you can more easily attract the support, solutions, ideas, and perspective shifts you need to resolve problems and move through your feelings in a productive way. Let's look at another example. Maybe you've been killing some time on Instagram, but quickly find yourself feeling envious and dissatisfied over your perceived lack. Pretty pictures of vacation photos and designer clothes have you feeling simultaneously jealous and ashamed of your jealousy. Finally, you put down your phone because you're just too angry to keep looking. Don't be afraid of this anger. In fact, celebrate the shift. Anger is a higher vibration emotion than jealousy. Going from jealousy to anger is a clear sign you're moving up the emotional scale. Now your work is to keep climbing. Sometimes you can just let your emotions ride out and you'll naturally find your way back up the scale. Other times you may need to be more proactive in choosing a new thought and energy. If you find that you're going down the scale or you're stuck at a lower level vibration, the solution is simple. Return to the Choose Again method from chapter 1 and add the emotional scale method from this chapter. Let's do a quick recap of the Choose Again method. 1. Notice the thought. Notice when your thoughts and energy are out of alignment with joy and ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Review the emotional scale and take note of where you're at. 2, forgive the thought. Forgive yourself for being misaligned and celebrate your desire to shift. Thank your negative feelings and thoughts for showing you what you don't want and revealing what you do want. 3, choose again and guide yourself up the emotional scale. Answer this question. What is the best feeling thought I can find right now? If you're really low on the scale and can't think of anything, ask the universe to guide you toward that better feeling thought. Remember, the thought can be totally unrelated to the reason for the emotional state you're in. When that thought makes you feel better, reach for another one. Gently guide yourself back up the emotional scale. Thinking about anything better than where you were will get you to where you want to be. Remember how positive it is to move to another emotion, even if that emotion doesn't seem joyful yet. Don't overthink this process. Abraham Hicks simplified it by saying, all you have to do is figure out what you want and talk yourself into it. Keep it simple and reach for the next best thought that leads toward what you want. The process of reaching for a better feeling thought may be very foreign to you. Maybe you're like me and you've spent years in therapy digging up old fears and memories from the past. Or maybe you're someone who's tried to work out issues by feeling into your uncomfortable emotions. While I greatly believe in traditional therapeutic healing, I also know that if I begin that healing from a higher vibrational stance, I won't get caught in the stories. Once I heard Eckhart Tolle say in an interview that if you're focusing on a negative past experience, you can choose to recognize that the experience is no longer happening now. The moment you choose to focus on the safety and security of the present moment, the past can dissolve. With this process, you're honoring your negative feelings, but you aren't dwelling in them. This is an important distinction. Most of us either ignore or skim past our feelings or wallow in them. With this process, you honor your negative feelings, but choose to move to a better feeling fast. For many of us, moving up the emotional scale requires a fundamental perspective shift. I'm still exploring its effects even years into this process. It's okay if you're having a little trouble wrapping your mind around the emotional scale in the process of climbing it. Be willing to try it anyway. You're likely to feel great relief. Part of what makes the process so powerful is that you don't have to force yourself back to joy in order to reclaim your positive momentum. You just have to be honest about how you're feeling and choose the next best thought. Your willingness to feel better will be your guide out of despair and into joy. Feeling your feelings is essential to moving up the scale. Often when we're stuck in an emotion, the reason we can't get out of it is that we're unwilling to acknowledge what's really going on. The second you honor your true feelings, you experience relief and can move into a new vibrational stance. Practice this regularly. Whenever you notice you're stuck in low thoughts and energy, return to the emotional scale, choose again, and guide yourself back. Each time you choose again and reach for the best feeling thought you can find in the moment, you're gently moving up the scale and into alignment with the joyful vibrations of the universe. Find joy in any situation. Our resistance to joy blocks us from attracting whatever it is we desire. When we embody an energy of joy, we release resistance. I recognize that it can be difficult to find joy in seemingly joyless situations, but it's far more painful to live a joyless existence. So many of us inadvertently live that way, whether by focusing on what's not working or by frequently complaining about our circumstances. We hope complaining will make us feel better or at least help us find a sympathetic ear. But when we focus on what's not working, we just get more of what's not working. One of the fastest ways to guide yourself back up the emotional scale is to do something that makes you feel good. If I've had a bad day, I'll pick out some music, grab my headphones, and go for a walk around the block or hit the gym. I've learned through experience that even if things aren't going the way I planned, I can still have fun. In fact, the more fun I have, the closer I get to attracting what I want. Sometimes we have to stop focusing so hard on our desires in order to attract them into our life. It's not that we ever lose the desire. The desire is always with us. It's just that focusing on its absence actually deflects it. whereas having fun brings us closer to receiving our desire. Taking the focus off your desire and redirecting your energy toward joy shifts you to a more positive point of attraction. Think about the last time you were obsessing about something you wanted. It probably didn't feel joyful. All your focus and attention toward what you don't have creates resistance. Release the grip of that resistance by redirecting your focus onto something fun that will distract you. Fun can come from the simplest acts. Exercise, call a friend you love, do a crossword puzzle, or spend quality time playing with your child. If an activity brings you a sense of satisfaction, contentment, warmth, excitement, or happiness, then it's fun. As soon as you lean into a fun and joyful experience, you move yourself up the emotional scale. An easy way to create more fun throughout the day is to smile at people and engage in random conversations. I'll talk to literally anyone. I'll walk down the street and tell a mother how beautiful her child is, or I'll strike up a conversation with a stranger about his or her day. These spontaneous moments of connection can bring forth a lot of joy for everyone. Maybe you're not like me, striking up conversations with random people, but you can smile at someone on your commute or offer to get your coworker a coffee. These seemingly insignificant moments of connection catapult us back into our true love nature. Embodying joy and love is what being a super attractor is all about. I want to emphasize that it's not hard to reclaim your super attractor connection. One moment of happiness is enough. Instead of seeking out these opportunities to feel good, we often stifle our full expression of joy by focusing strongly on an outcome. Fixating on a specific outcome that we think we want causes us to struggle and suffer as we attempt to force it. We don't let ourselves feel happy, satisfied, or relaxed until we can check that goal off the list. Even if we do achieve the goal, we immediately zero in on the next task to accomplish. Living from achievement to achievement is an addictive pattern that holds us back from truly enjoying the richness of life. When we make fun a priority and release outcomes, we can stop complaining and start attracting. But I see so many people get hung up on the idea that joy comes from achievement. This is backwards. The goal isn't to achieve something, but to have fun along the way to what you desire. Assuming an energy of joy is the fastest way to achieve success. For instance, if you're trying to attract a romantic partner, be sure to have fun on those dating apps or on that blind date. This is especially true even when you feel that any particular date isn't for you. There are still so many opportunities to learn something new and interesting about the other person or yourself. If you bring joy to the process, you'll maintain a positive point of attraction, which will speed up your capacity to manifest the partner you desire. Your fun energy is sexy, and it will be felt on every date, and even through those apps. There's nothing more attractive than someone who's having fun. If you want to manifest a new job, find ways to have more fun in the job you currently have. The good energy you bring to whatever work you do helps open doors for new opportunities. This might seem counterintuitive, especially if you don't like your current job. You might be thinking, how can I possibly enjoy this place? I hate my job. But finding a better one will require your attracting energy. And so you will have to shift your perspective on your current job. Can you be friendlier to coworkers? Can you bring more ideas and enthusiasm into meetings? Can you make your desk office a more high vibe space? When you start to make these shifts, you'll find that you'll feel better about your current situation, and everyone you encounter will feel better about you. From this place of positive energy, you will attract that new job much faster. If you're out of alignment with the physical well-being you desire, make your healing process fun. I found great success healing myself when I chose to have fun cooking medicinal foods and practicing self-care. A beautiful example of this is my best friend Jenny, who's been helping her father Ray through his chemotherapy treatment. Every step of the way, Ray has maintained a positive attitude. He shows up for his treatment with enthusiasm and optimism. He cracks jokes with the nurses and keeps the mood light. And he spends time with Jenny researching healing foods that will nourish him. I know that Ray's attitude is not only making the experience easier, but also sending a message to every cell in his body by releasing any resistance to his healing. His joy clears blocks, supports his physical body and his mental state, and keeps him open to creative possibilities for healing. Make it your priority to have fun, even when things aren't working out the way you planned or when your manifestations haven't arrived yet. Trust that the more fun you have, the more you speed up the manifesting process. Having fun along the way shifts your energy to certainty. When joy becomes your default, you become certain that everything will work out, even if the end result is different from what you planned. You'll learn to rely on your own capacity to access joy rather than needing it from an outside source. No romance, amount of money, credential, or achievement can give you the sense of certainty your own joy can provide. When you practice having fun along the way, the universe supports you. The support, flow, and synchronicity you receive from the universe give you a great sense of certainty. Choosing fun will help you remember that you are being guided by an ever-present force of love. It will give you freedom to rely on the universe and trust that joy will clear the path. You may be thinking, how can I find joy when I'm really down about something? Always remember that you don't have to leap toward joy. You gently guide yourself up the emotional scale one step at a time. Abraham Hicks say, don't let any place that you are standing frighten you. Let it inform you. The energy you're in right now offers you clarity about what you truly want. Joy opens invisible doors. One of my favorite hobbies is cooking. I'm a self-taught intuitive chef. I don't use recipes and I've created my own techniques. I feel free in the kitchen, and cooking has become another form of meditation for me. I've spent years documenting my meals on social media through photos and blog posts. So when Instagram stories came out, I was off to the races. Most evenings I share video tutorials of whatever I'm cooking for dinner. I call it the Gabby Cooking Show. Each recipe I share brings me happiness. I include the mantras that I listen to while I cook, and the fun I'm having comes through the phone screens of thousands of viewers throughout the world. I started the Gabby Cooking Show out of sheer enjoyment and nothing else. It was an authentic expression of my favorite hobby. Within a few months of regularly sharing, interesting things started to happen. I began receiving outreach emails from food brands that wanted to send me kitchen appliances for the Gabby Cooking Show. People started coming up to me at my events and telling me how much they loved my meal ideas. And then one night at a friend's party, something really funny occurred. Across the room, I saw a young woman walking toward me. She seemed happy to see me. I thought she must have been a reader excited to share her experience of one of my books. But to my surprise, she said, "Oh my God, you're that girl with the Gabby Cooking Show. I love it." I laughed out loud. I found it amazing that of all the things I've done in my career, I was being recognized for a little Instagram show that I set up on a whim. Today, take some time to do something that brings you joy. Find your own Gabby Cooking Show. Do something that lights you up and witness how the universe supports it. I can hear some of you complaining that you just don't have the time. First, you have to make feeling good a priority. You owe it to yourself and those around you. Second, you only need a few minutes for things like journaling, meditating, going for a walk, listening to your favorite song, or striking up a conversation with a coworker or a neighbor. Give yourself at least 2 minutes of reprieve every day from the incessant fear-based belief systems that keep you in negativity. A few minutes is all it takes. Remember, the moment you lean toward joy, you are led up the emotional scale. Introducing joy to a situation changes the vibrational frequency of what's happening around you. Try this out. The next time you're annoyed in that long meeting or sucked into a gossipy conversation at brunch, crack a joke. Bring joy into the joyless environment and watch the energy change in the room. You are a shapeshifter. Think about the mornings you enter the office in a good mood. I'm sure people treat you with more kindness and higher vibes than on the days when you show up with a bad attitude. You have the power to shift the energy around you by choosing to be in joy. Even when other people don't start off in that place, you have the power to lift them up with you. Anytime you bring your high vibe energy to someone in a lower vibration, they will be elevated in your presence. Often what matters most isn't even what you say or do, but the energy you give off. Be the person who lights up a room. Carry a flashlight. Many of my students ask me how they can maintain their high vibes when the people around them are stuck in negativity. My response is, always carry a flashlight. It serves as a constant reminder of your ability to shine light even around the darkness of others. Shining your light is the best way to deal with negativity. We sometimes think that commiserating is the most effective way to help. but commiserating only makes things worse. If someone is suffering, you don't want to bring your energy down to help them feel better. Does it make you feel good to be pitied? Probably not. Being pitied usually perpetuates our discomfort and reinforces our sense of powerlessness. We think, things must really be bad if they think so too. Instead of pitying someone, turn on your inner flashlight, maintain your high vibration, and guide that person back to peace through your positive presence. Your high vibration will brighten their world. When you get aligned with the energy of joy, you become a bearer of light for everyone you meet, and you give others inspiration to shine when they're around you. Aim to be a source of light in the world simply by assuming an energy of joy. In the presence of your joy, others will recognize their own. Calibrate your energy to a positive frequency. All the greatness I've attracted into my life has come from high vibrational energy. In 2015, I declared that I was going to measure my success based on how much fun I was having. In several of my books, I've written about the power of fun and the magnetic force field of joy, and I've long said that happiness is a choice I make. But I've recently made it an even higher priority. This is when I began to really feel the fluidity of joy in my life. I accepted that joy can be a feeling I tune into all the time, not just in fleeting moments. This big shift occurred when I became devoted to my well-being and committed to the power of positive thinking, stress reduction, and releasing resistance. Living these practices wholeheartedly allowed me to recalibrate my energy. I'm no longer striving for moments of joyful relief. Now I feel the flow of joy throughout my days. The shift for me was that I decided to stop giving purpose to my pain. I honored my suffering from the past, but chose to no longer dwell in it. I decided to be new and accept joy as my birthright. This newness showed up in my work, my marriage, and my physical health. As soon as I decided to live with ease and joy, my life changed forever. In a short period of time, I felt like a new person. This is the happiest I've ever been. I share this with you because I know this miracle awaits you too. When you are guided to a book like this, it's because you have a strong desire to feel better. That desire is enough for you to experience a miraculous shift. You can decide today to recalibrate your energy and commit to love and joy. In an instant, you can choose a world beyond your fear. I know this is true because many of you have reached out and shared your experience of it with me. When you embark on a spiritual path, a shift occurs whether you're conscious of it or not. And if you stick to the path and stay committed to your practices, one day you wake up and you're new. Welcome your newness now. If you've taken the time to apply even one of the principles in this book, you are new. These methods recalibrate your energy and bring you back up the emotional scale. The simplest shift is enough to set you on a new path. Pay attention to your newness and celebrate each shift, no matter how small. Celebrate the moments when you choose to relax rather than push harder, when you forgive rather than attack, when you choose a better feeling thought and think your way out of despair. These seemingly minor moments are the miracles. Be proud of each miraculous shift. Thank you for your commitment. Ride the wave of positivity. Even the slightest shift in your energy is enough to redirect your energetic flow toward joy. When you feel that shift, let it take over. Take it even further and feel it as much as possible. The moment I notice my energy inch closer to love and joy, I reach for more. I feel the good vibrations and let them move me deeply. I consciously continue reaching for more and more positive thoughts. It happens frequently when I'm driving in the countryside listening to mantra music. I often get a hit of great wonder as I pass forests and fields, listening to the sounds of the music. When I feel this feeling, I ride the momentum and keep the good vibes flowing. I start to think about how grateful I am to live in a peaceful community and how much I love that I can drive to the local farm and pick up food for the week, feeling free behind the wheel. I think about the dinner I'm going to cook later that night and how much my husband will appreciate it. I go even further and start sending love to my friends in my community and celebrating the great connections I've made. I then honor myself for committing to serving the world. I let this joy move through me. Riding this momentum is a really fun process. The next time you feel your energy begin to calibrate toward love, ride the wave of positivity and then take it even further. Let your thoughts flow with more and more joy. Reach further and further for more good feeling emotions. You can't take this practice too far. Surf the wave of positivity and don't stop. Feeling good is the goal. So when you get there, go grab even more of it. Inspire others by doing what inspires you. You may still be feeling some resistance to the idea that having fun is one of the most important things you can do. This is a normal reaction. Many new spiritual students fear that their spiritual path is selfish. They feel guilty taking time for fun and being unapologetic about their desires. But one of the greatest lessons I've learned from Abraham Hicks is that we must be selfish in our practice. Selfish here is not a negative concept. This kind of selfishness doesn't hurt anyone else, and it doesn't mean you neglect others in any way. But it requires you to put your joy first. You must make your joy your highest priority. When you're selfish about your well-being, you're actually being of high service to the world. This is because the more joy you embody and the more you allow inspiration to move through you, the more powerfully you will serve others. We can't help or uplift anyone or anything else from a place of resistance and low vibration. The greatest gift we can give is our positive energy. So I'm encouraging you to become more selfish about how you want to feel. Trust that the happier and more inspired you are, the more you can give to your family, your friends, your coworkers, and your community. We're living in a time when we must bring more positivity and light to the world. Anyone on a spiritual path is signed up to be of service. The first service is the energy you bring. Great change in the world cannot come from our hopelessness. It must come from our inspiration and joy. When we make our joy a priority, brilliant ideas will come naturally, support will surround us, and movements will form. People who are truly happy are also truly helpful. When you know how amazing it is to live in joy, you can't help but want to spread it. As you embody this energy, you will lift the veil from a world of fear to reveal a world filled with light. This is the practice in the next chapter. In the coming pages, you will learn that there is a world beyond the fearful perceptions we've grown to rely on. There is a world of peace, happiness, freedom, and light. Get excited to lift the veil.
Okay, that's chapter 4. Courtney, I'm with you. I was highlighting as fast as I could. I love that chapter, and just kind of shows how this can help in any aspect of our life. I think what's so cool about us being thrivers is that we can literally take someone to that feeling of like hopelessness and bring them to a place of feeling better. When they feel better, they feel more joy, and that's when all of the changes in their life start to happen. They can be better for their family and friends, and you just start to see that shift happen. So whether they're obviously thrivers or not, we can still give them that energy and help them feel better. And then even do the same for our families, like our kids, they get in these funks as well and just negativity, but then being able to take them from that state and see them, give them a more positive light. That's like one of the best gifts I feel like we could possibly give to our kids, and just set them up for success their entire lives. So loved that chapter so much. I know she said at the beginning, this book, this whole idea of being a super attractor and having this positive energy is like a muscle. And I know if we don't do these mother hustlers, like on the weekends, I'll even, forget about it and not practice this, and I'll find myself like saying negative things. But then as soon as I jump into this book, the week just gets better and better. It's like that momentum just snowballs and everything becomes more positive. So it's okay. It's not one of those things that has to be an immediate shift and an immediate change. It's like a muscle. You have to work it, and the more you work it, the stronger it gets. So we will move into chapter 5 tomorrow. Try to just keep an open mind as we move through it, because it does get better and better. And I think that you'll see that the changes get better too. All right, let's move into posting either on our stories or on our wall today. Maybe you're a Facebook person, maybe you're an Instagram person. It's okay. It doesn't matter whichever form of social media you are. It's really important to just stay consistent, in whether we're talking about Thrive or um, with another business that we may have. Like, it is so important to just be consistent, because that's what people want to see, that you're in this for the long haul, and it's not just something that you're doing for a little bit and not excited about anymore. So that consistency is what's going to draw people into your business. And I will say the stories have been huge for me. I actually did a poll the other day asking people if they looked at scroll through their news feed or if they watch stories. And I think 8% of the voters said that they scroll through their news feed, and like 92% of people said that they just watch stories. So that shows you how powerful that is. And if you don't know anything about Facebook stories or Instagram stories, it's okay. It's almost like Snapchat. It just takes a little bit of time to figure it out. But once you're there, it wasn't one of those things that I feel like anybody is just good at, overnight. It takes some creativity and some thought, but you can just get the message out to people so much quicker. So like on our story or on our news feed, we wouldn't just blow up a news feed about Thrive posting 10 times a day about it, because that could kind of be a turnoff to people. But on our stories, I feel like it's something that is optional if people watch, and most people do. Like, I have people that watch my stories every day that have never said one word to me about Thrive. We've never talked about it, but they're watching. And so when the time is right for them, whether it's Thrive Nutrition or Thrive Skin, they're going to reach out. So I try to post a variety of both nutrition and skin. That way I can kind of cater to whatever people are interested in. But I'll just sprinkle Thrive throughout my day. So I make my stories kind of a glimpse of what life looks like for me today. Maybe it's a quote that I opened up and saw on my phone. I'll post that to my story first, and then I'll walk into the kitchen, grab my 3 steps, and then maybe I'll take a picture of my 3 steps that I'm getting ready to take. And then maybe I come up here and hop on Mother Hustler. I'll post a picture of all of us on here together. And then maybe I'll go take my dog for a walk. So then I'll post a picture on my story of us going for a walk. And then maybe I'll get a screenshot of somebody on their first day of Thrive telling me how good that they feel. So then maybe I'll post that on my story. So it's just kind of a sprinkle of different things throughout the day. But that consistency over time is what people want to see and what's going to attract them to our business. So let's move in to posting on our stories. Today is actually the last day to get either the free shakes or the free sculpt with the 150 pack plus free shipping. So they either get an extra box of shakes to make it like the 190 pack, the full shake every day, or they add sculpt in and get 1 box of shakes but free sculpt. So today's the last day for that promotion. I posted something about that on my story this morning, so maybe that's something that you want to talk about on your story right now. Maybe you already talked about Thrive, so you want to move into something different, like a bit of inspiration. Maybe you want to take a screenshot of all of us here on the computer together this morning. So whatever you want to do, let's take just a couple minutes to work on our story. On Instagram, if you're on the home page, you can take your finger to the left and scroll to the right, and that is how you get to uploading your story. Down at the bottom right corner, you can see all of the pictures in your camera roll. The best thing to do is just upload one of those pictures, and then you can put text on it. You can put those fun little like stickers that move. And then as soon as I upload something to Instagram, I just go over to Facebook, and then I upload the same thing to my Facebook story. So I'll give everybody a couple minutes just to work on that. Okay. After our stories, let's go on to Instagram or Facebook. I'm going to do Instagram and just go through some of the stories at the top of your newsfeed or scroll through your newsfeed and let's just comment on 5 people's stories or posts that we don't know. And maybe this is somebody that we've followed on here the last couple times that we've done it and we just haven't commented on anything of theirs yet. Let's go comment or respond to something on their story and just put ourselves out there a little more and put us in front of the people that are watching us that we don't really personally know. We're just kind of connected on Instagram. So I'm just going to scroll down and do just that. Like here's a girl that said I saw she was having surgery this morning. So I just commented and said, hope your surgery went well with like the little praying emoji. Just little things like that to just pop in and like let people know that we're thinking of them. They might be like, who's this chick? Let's check out her page and they might watch her story. So it's something that I hardly take time to do, but I know it can make a big difference, especially putting ourselves in front of people that we don't personally know. Another good thing to post about at some point today would be about the 4K rank advancement bonus that came out yesterday. Posting that the first rank in our company gets that 4K bonus, which is actually a $2,000 bonus, I think. But that's huge for people. And I know a lot of companies that is not a thing at all. So definitely talking about that, or even going on your story and actually talking about it, not just posting about it, but explaining what it is and how awesome it is live on your story is a good thing to do and can get some people interested. Okay. Yes, you did so good yesterday, Courtney. I think the engagement of just being on your story and talking and making that connection, they just, people feel you on a different level. You did awesome talking on your story yesterday. It was great. I loved it, and hopefully we'll see more of your face on your story. So, okay, I'll let you guys go for today. Remember that that promo for the free shakes and free sculpt ends tonight. So if you have anybody, go through that list, let them know today's the last day for them to take advantage of it. I challenge each of you guys to just go live or talk on your story for a couple seconds today, talking about the 4K rank advancement promotion that Lavelle just put out yesterday, because people do have a half of a month to hit that and go 4K and earn that bonus. So it is possible, even for somebody brand new coming in right now, that could easily go 4K by the end of the month and earn that bonus. So okay, it's not actually live, I don't think, but basically what I do is, so go to my story, like I'm getting ready to post something. Oops, hang on. Got to close back out of the app. Okay. You want to go to your story on Instagram where you have the option at the bottom to do like normal or boomerang, or I go over to hands free. So where it says hands free, I will just set my phone up somewhere where I can see myself, and then you tap the button like you're gonna take a picture, but when it's on hands free, it records, but you don't have to be pushing the button. So what I do is I just push it and then I start talking, blah, 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 blah. And then you press it again and it stops the video. So that's the best way to like be live on your story, is to use that hands-free option. So if you scroll past like boomerang and all of that, you'll find hands-free. And that's what I use whenever I start talking in my stories. So, and then I post it over to Facebook too. So I just save. So maybe you'll have like 4 or 5 slides down at the bottom. I'll just save each one of those because it breaks them up. You'll see what I'm talking about. But at the bottom, there'll be like 3, 4, 5 different, how do I even say it? Like different slides, I guess, of the story. So I save each one of those and then I go and I upload them to Facebook too. So then I don't have to go live twice, but I upload them to my Facebook story too. Okay. And if you have any other questions, reach out. That's my challenge for you guys today. Yes, you can have your Facebook and your Insta connected as well. So then as soon as you upload it to Instagram, it automatically uploads it to Facebook too. Okay. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Slay the day. I will be playing this recording at 8 p.m. Central tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to hop back on, feel free to listen to that chapter again. And I will see you guys tomorrow, which is Thursday, same time, same place. Have a great Wednesday. Talk to you later. Thanks for hopping on, guys. Bye.